When we go on a cruise, your brain is having to say, okay, we're on a cruise and we're getting this constant passive motion, but it's temporary. The people who it's not temporary for, their brain ends up adapting to have these neuroplastic changes as if it's a permanent thing, as if your world went from being still to a world that's constantly moving. But when you get off the boat's constantly moving. The world is not constantly moving, right? So if your brain is adapted to be in that environment, all of a sudden you get into the normal surface environment and you're feeling constant motion. Yes. What we look at, it is more common in females. It is more common in females that are about 40 and 50 years of age. It's more common in females that have a history of migraines or anxiety or stress or depression, things like that. All that means is before you go on the boat, if you have a predisposition, which you wouldn't even know you had that predisposition, it could end up leading to it. We also know viral infections have a big impact as well, right? So the fact that you had the viral infection going on to the boat, that's probably why you got it and everybody else didn't, right? Because it is a small percentage of people that get it, for sure. Super happy you found functional neurology because that makes a really big difference. You are a complex case, so typically when you go to vestibular rehab, you end up getting worse, right? They're addressing the vestibular component. Yeah, they're addressing the peripheral vestibular component and they're not quite understanding the complexity of the central components, right? Because it is a sensory mismatch. So for example, we know where we are in space at all times because of all of our sensory systems, right? I use my vision, I use my vestibular system, I use my joint proprioception, and they're all relaying information, sound, smell, hearing, all the time. The first three that I mentioned, vestibular, proprioception from joints and muscles, and then our vision are the most important for defining like where we are in space, right? So when you're on the boat and you're rocking and then you're down in the cabin and you're not looking out at the horizon, right? You get what's called a sensory mismatch. Your brain struggles to identify, hey, we're actually rocking in relationship to the world. Your brain looked at your visual system, like if we close this door and we're just in a room and this is a room on a boat, right? My vision is telling me that we're static and we're still, right? Because I'm not out at the horizon in relation, right? So inside the room we're in, vision is saying we're still, but our vestibular system is sensing this motion, and that's where that maladaptation happens. It's a sensory mismatch.